Hello, everyone. It is Wednesday, and it is time for lunch therapy. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Thanks for being here. I hope this finds you well. And I hope everything's going relatively well for you out there. As you know, as you may know, you may not know, this may be the first time you tuned in. This is a break from all the crap that's going on in the world. Just a time just to sit back and relax and enjoy some things that are maybe not that important. So we call this lunch therapy. It's a little bit of therapy. It's a little bit of lunch. It's not lunch for Boney. Boney is starving. I am starving because we are the entertainment. We are the entertainment for lunch. And we start the show out with some breathing. And so if you'll join me now, the first thing I want you to do is just kind of feel your feet on the ground or wherever they happen to be and take in a breath. And hold it and let it out. And take in another breath and hold it and let it out. And we got one more breath. Take it in. Hold it and let it out. So we're going to see how that goes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I don't know if this is relaxing you guys. Let's get into the, maybe he does several bowls. I'm going to put on my headphones for this. Wow. I'm feeling better already. Thank God for this guy, because I was freaking out. I was just losing it. Just want to take a little bit more time here for this because all right. And we're out. So today is a big day because it's the anniversary of something that happened. I think it was about 4 years ago, and I had seen on Facebook a picture that reminded me of this time, the first time that I went to Hawaii. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to Hawaii, but Hawaii is a very, very special place. And I always thought, well, I can't really go to Hawaii because it's so, it's so expensive, and it's not really on the way to anywhere. And there aren't any really business opportunities for there at this time for me at this time. I was hoping maybe I'd get on, the show Hawaii 5-0 or maybe on Magnum PI or something like that, but I never did. But I got a call from my friend Gordy Wall, who is a longtime friend of mine. We went to college together, and he is a very, very good friend of mine, but he's also very, very persuasive. As many of you know, one time he talked me into drinking alcohol out of a vacuum cleaner hose. Yeah, that's the kind of persuasive this guy is. That's the kind of salesman he is. And he called me up and he said, Joel, you got to go with us to Hawaii. And I'm like, I can't go to Hawaii, Gordy. I can't just up and go to Hawaii. I got a job that I got to work. It's going to cost a lot of money, probably hundreds of dollars, and I can't do it, Gordy. And he's like, nope, you're going. You're going. Because that's the way he is. He has this like kind of certainty. He's like, yeah, you got to go. You're going. And so he said that Todd Lee had a condominium there in Hawaii, and they were all staying there. So I didn't really have that excuse. So I looked around for another excuse, and I said to my boss, because I guess I don't like to have fun. I don't like to have fun, I guess. But I said to my boss, yeah, my friends want me to go to Hawaii next week, and I can't do that. And she's like, why not? I'll give you the time off. And then I went and I called my wife, and I'm like, Kamala, Gordy wants me to go to Hawaii, but, I got all these things that I got to do in my life. And she's like, why? You should go. So I was like, well, tickets are really expensive. So I got on and I bought a bunch of tickets. I actually bought tickets. I found inexpensive tickets. I bought them. But then I look at them closely, and I had bought them for the wrong month. Sabotaging myself. And I'm like, well, I guess I blew it. I bought the tickets for the wrong month. I'll never be able to. And then I called the people, and they actually gave me a refund, and they gave me tickets. So I had to go. I had tickets to Maui. So here I am with tickets to Maui. But the problem is, I find out Gordy didn't tell Todd, and he's not going to tell Todd. And it's Todd's condo. And he says, you should just show up and surprise us. It's me, Brian Keaton, Todd Lee, and we're all just going to be there. And you just show up. It'll be funny. And he's laughing. That'll be so funny. And so I thought, okay, I'll do it. But, when you get to this age, you don't crash as much as you used to. When you're in your 20s, you're crashing all the time. You're crashing parties, you're crashing auditions, you're crashing on each other's couch, you're crashing your car. It's a decade of crashing. But when you get to be this age, you don't really crash. The last time I crashed Warner Brothers Studio one day and ended up on the set of AI. That's how long ago it was. AI. That was a weird day, by the way. But I hadn't crashed anything since then. But, Gordy thought it'd be funny, and I just do pretty much whatever Gordy says. I mean, that's just the kind of person I am, I guess. And so whatever he says, I do it. So I got on the plane, and I get there, and I land in Hawaii, and I'm expecting, you come off the plane, and there's people with leis, and they put them around. You walk on the runway, and it's this whole thing. I'd seen it a million times, and it wasn't like that. It was like Burbank Airport, a very tiny airport. It's night. I'm texting Gordy, and I'm not getting any kind of response. And I'm like, Gordy, where are you? And he said, Todd doesn't want to go. We were supposed to meet at this bar. He's like, I can't get Todd to go to the bar. All of a sudden, Todd doesn't want to go to a bar, which is the strangest thing in the world because Todd always wants to go to a bar. And now he can't go. He can't get there. And I'm supposed to meet them. It's like halfway, and it's probably 45 minutes just to get to the bar. And I said, you got to talk him into it. You got to do something. I'm here. And on top of it, as I was walking out the door to go to Hawaii, my wife said, well, you don't have a costume. And I was like, what? I need a costume? She's like, yeah, if you're going to crash, you got to make a huge show out of it. And so she started getting stuff together, and she got together this costume for me. And it was these crazy glasses and this hat and this jacket that she bought for me that was super busy on the top. And I got my Joe Fury, I borrowed his hair. And so I was, really like ready to go. So I'm at the airport, and I go in the bathroom, I put on my whole costume, and I get in a cab, and I'm heading towards that bar, and I'm just like, I hope they're going to be there. I hope they're going to be there. And I'm texting with Gordy, and I'm texting, and I get there, and I get out, and I'm walking on the street, and there's this drunk guy just walking around, just being just like obnoxious. And I thought, I'm going to be that guy. And I get a text from Gordy right then. He says, we're in the bar. So I go in and I'm just like, and I am just like, I want a beer. Is there anybody? And I'm doing the whole like thing, like I'm gonna fall over, and I'm all drunk. Just somebody give me a beer, and I'm angry, and I'm disruptive, and I am hoping that it's the right bar. And somebody snapped this picture. I love this picture because there's me with my outfit on. I still have not found the guys yet. And that lady behind me, she has that. And she has that look on her face that, you don't even know if people actually do that, where they go, oh no. She's like, oh no, what are we going to do? I think Gordy must have snapped this picture. And the girl behind the wall, she's like, what is going on? And then there's the kid who's just ignoring the whole thing because he's a kid. So I started just like stumbling around, and I'm thinking, I hope they're here. I sat down at somebody else's table. The lady started telling me that I had to leave, and I said, I'm trying to get a beer. I'm just trying to get a beer. And I finally found Gordy, and I sat down next to him, and I took a picture, and he was laughing. He was really laughing. And then I knew it was going to be good. And then I saw Brian. And Brian, the second I see Brian's face, I look at him and I'm thinking, he knows. He's trying to act like he doesn't, like he's surprised. Oh, I'm so surprised. But he's not surprised at all because Gordy must have told him. And then I see Todd, and Todd is, I think he was surprised for a moment. I think he was surprised. In this picture, I don't know. I think he probably knows it's me, but I think it was mission accomplished. It was totally mission accomplished. So, a lot of friends, if you just crashed their company's condo in Maui, they might be kind of pissed. But not Todd. That's a testament to Todd. Todd was just, he was really excited. And so we went and we had such a good time because we were staying in this, I don't know if you've been to Maui before, but that was like the view outside the condominium. It's like unreal. It was unreal. And we were just there and just having a great time. And for some reason, somebody decided to ruin it. Somebody decided that we were going to go on a hike in a volcano. So I was like, they were telling me about it. I was like, I don't know, man. I didn't bring any hiking shoes, and I didn't bring any hiking gear. And they were like, don't worry about it. Our friend, he's a hiker. He says that it's the walk in the park. Don't worry. Don't worry so much. And I said, well, if we're going to go hiking tomorrow, we're not going to do any drinking, no drinking, because we can't be all dehydrated. We have to be clear thinking. And that's the rule that I'm setting down right now. And I don't care. I get with these friends of mine, and it's like our brains revert to when we were, 20 or 18 years old, 18 to like 21. That time period where you're just like, your brain does not function that well. It's not fully formed. I don't want to put down any of you like Twitchers out there, but if you're between 18 and 21, the decisions that you make are not the greatest. That's why we kind of put you away into like a university or into a fraternity house or something. Just, do your nasty little thing and just, let your brains evolve, and then we'll try and sort it out from there. So whenever I get together with these guys, that teenage brain or that 20-year-old brain just kind of comes back. You'd think, all of us together we'd get a better brain, like we'd be smarter. And a lot of these people are like professionals. But together we're like, we got mental problems. So, I guess I kind of had that mental problem. Like, look, we're not going to drink. No one can drink. Don't do anything. And then Todd shows me a bottle of Fireball whiskey or something. It's Atomic Fireball. Like Atomic Fireball. Those are really good. They put the cinnamon and you put them in your mouth and you're like, oh, this is delicious. And this stuff kind of tasted like Atomic Fireball. And I thought, well, I'll just try a shot of it because I got to try it, right? So I tried it and I drank it. And I was like, wow, this is some good stuff. And I just started tanking it. I was like, I couldn't control myself. I just started tanking that stuff. And everybody else was cool. They weren't drinking. For some reason, I'm just throwing it back like I totally forgot. I drank like a bottle of that stuff. And all night, I am just blathering on. And Gordy is trying to sleep, and I am just talking and pontificating and telling her how, I probably said like, Gordy, I'll tell you how it is. I probably said, life is a funny place, that kind of thing. Like, we've been friends for so long. And I'm just going on and on to the point where the neighbors were like banging on the wall. Would you just shut up in there, atomic fireball? I was a walking atomic fireball, just walking around. And the next morning I wake up and I have the biggest headache because I hadn't been drinking. I hadn't had any alcohol for like a year. I was in the greatest shape of my life till I met that bottle of atomic fireball. And then I had such a headache and I'm like, oh God. And then we got to go on that hike. And I start to tell the guys like, hey, like my brain, and I'm trying to be cool because I was so stupid. And everybody else was so much smarter than me that, yes, I think I did have a vodka martini out on the deck. Yeah. And I talked like Brian into it or somebody. I talked you guys all into it. So the next day, like I have a headache, but I'm feeling kind of stupid. I'm kind of feeling stupid. So I'm like, I guess I made my bed. And I'm the kind of guy, when I was in college, if I, drank too much, I went to class anyway. That was kind of a thing that I had myself. But my brain was just... Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga chaka. I mean, that's what was going on in my brain. Just a lot of ooga chaka. Just ooga chaka, ooga chaka, ooga chaka. And we had found Brian's brother who was driving us to the Volcano where we were going to hike. And I'm like, I'm starting to be like, well, maybe I'll just go sit on the beach or something. And they're like, what are you talking about? You're going on this hike. And Gordy's there and he's like, he's doing his like Vulcan mind trick on me or his I don't know, Jedi mind trick where he's like, you will go hike. And I'm like, well, I didn't really bring any hiking shoes. And they're like, you don't need them. And it's sunny. I mean, it's beautiful outside. It is beautiful. It's Maui, for God's sakes. And we get in the car, Dan Keaton, Brian's very level-headed brother that I've known for years. And he's kind of in a hurry because he's kind of annoyed with us because he's got to get back to his family. And so we get in the car, and he's going fast. And we're in this, like, SUV, and I'm in the back of it. And the other guys are, like, up front in another car, and we are just twisting and turning up this hill. And it's not straight at all. It is just twisting and turning and twisting and turning. And my head is pounding. And I suddenly started to get that saliva feel in my mouth, You know that feeling that you get where you're like, oh my God. It's like your body is preparing to vomit. And you're really nauseous, like really nauseous. Like you don't want to be driving around on the twisty, turny roads. And yeah, you know the feeling. And so, and I'm, the saliva is coming in and they're up in front of me and I'm trying to be cool. And Dan is like, I gotta get you guys up there. And so I'm like, do you guys think we could pull over and get a cup of coffee? And they kind of radio ahead to the front car. We pull over in this like beautiful, beautiful place. And it's like a restaurant or something. And it is overlooking we're up high. I'm starting to get sort of alcohol poisoning and altitude sickness at the same time. And I am just like, I don't know if I'm going to make it, right? So I got to eat something because back in college, when we got a hangover, we would go and we'd eat something. A lot of times it was like McDonald's or something like that, but it made you feel better. So I'm like, okay, what do you guys got here? And they gave me, they said, we can get you a cup of coffee, but this is a restaurant, so you're going to have to buy some food in the gift shop. And I go into the gift shop of Kula Lodge. I had a picture here somewhere. Don't know where it is, but I go in the gift shop, and of course it's Hawaii. So what do they have to eat? They've got plastic. I'm looking around. All they have are plastic containers of pineapple, and I'm thinking, well, pineapple's good for you, right? So I get my cup of coffee and my pineapple, and I start eating that pineapple like it's going out of style. I'm like, this thing's gonna make me feel better. Mental note: if you're hungover on atomic fireball juice, never eat a whole thing of pineapple. Because we were going, and my mouth is, and then I finally I got to pull over. And this time we were in the front car, so I'm like, oh no, I hope they're not going to take a picture of me. We pull over, and I just spewed pineapple all over the ground, just all over. And everybody, of course, is laughing because it's funny. So now I'm thinking, okay, they're going to let me go home. I'm going to go home with Dan because this is ridiculous. And we keep winding, and we finally get to the top of this place. And the weirdest thing happened. All of a sudden, it went from a beautiful, beautiful sunny day. This is the last sunny day picture that we took on that day. We get out of the car. There's Dan. He's there. We're taking this picture. Gordy and Todd, I think Brian probably took this picture. Dan's there, and I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go home with Dan. And I turn, and Dan is gone. And I look out, and it is all of a sudden like we're on the moon. Or we're somewhere like in, I don't know, Antarctica or something like that. It's a barren tundra. It's not sunny anymore. It's foggy. And I'm with these idiots. And I've got shorts on and tennis shoes and a T-shirt. And Dan is gone. So now the only way back is through this hike. And I'm talking to my friends. I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to make this. And they're like, don't worry about it. We know exactly what we're doing. And they're all happy. And we start walking, and, there's a picture of Todd out there. Gordy's like looking back at me like, you don't look too well. We get to this place, and there's a sign on the ground that says, "You're off the path." If you can read this sign, you're off the path. So I'm like, so I'm starting to think, we're all going to die. And I don't know how many times I said that to these guys, that we're all going to die. I probably said it too many times. Because, yes, I was so scared, I was almost crying, Eddie Mitchell. I was tearing up, like big time. And I'm thinking, like, I hope that we have water, right? And I'm thinking, this is the way I'm going to die. And these guys are just like, whatever, don't worry about it. This is cool. And we're trudging along. And we trudged on for like an hour. And I thought, I was drinking other people's water. I was trying to get it, and I was feeling a little bit better. And we got to this house. I was certain, first of all, that nobody knew where we were going. And we were probably never going to get out of this alive. And we got to this log cabin. And Gordy says, oh, let's go in there and have some hot chocolate. And I'm thinking, Gordy, how do you know that this is a restaurant? He's like, oh, well, look at it. It's obviously a restaurant. And he says, oh, let's go in there and have some hot chocolate. So we all pile into this cabin, and we're looking around in there. I'm looking, and there's like some bunk beds on the wall. There's another like bed over here. There's a table. And then there are these people there that are just like these women, like a mother and her daughters. And they're just like, what are you doing? And we're just here to get some hot chocolate. And they're like, this is our house. Why did you just walk in here? And at that moment, I realized I was definitely with a bunch of idiots. And I was most likely going to perish. And we got out of there, and we were like, and I was like, who thought that was a place to get hot chocolate anyway? 12.5 miles this thing was. This was not a hike for shorts and tennis shoes. And it started raining. It starts raining, and there's a fence. And I'm like, how much farther is this thing? And they're like, oh, it's not that far. It's just right over there. And they point up, and there is just a gigantic cliff going up so high that you can't even see the top of it. You can't see the top of this cliff. And there's like a little path, there's a fence, and there's a little path where you walk up the side of this cliff, and this is the only way out. You can't go back. I'm like, maybe we should go back. And they're like, no, you can't go back. And so we start walking up this tiny little path. It was just barely enough. It was a sheer cliff on one side and just barely enough to walk on. And we're all walking in single file. And I haven't told anybody this, but I'm afraid of heights. I have a severe fear of heights. So I'm shaking, and we're walking down this thing, and, Brian Keaton's there, and he's kind of like, when you go with your dog, when you go hiking with your golden retriever, and he kind of runs back and forth on the edge of the cliff. Brian's like that. He's just having a great old time. Todd, however, has vertigo, and he is not taking it that well, I'll tell you. Todd has now gone way ahead of us, and you can see him up on the cliff, hugging the cliff, the side of the cliff. I mean, he was more terrified than I was because he had vertigo. Like, he can't tell, like, you know how bad it is when you're dizzy. But Todd is dizzy and on the edge of this cliff, so I guess he's decided that he's just going to run there. He's just going to get through this thing. So he's way up there, just booking. And we're down, still walking on the path, and I'm just trying not to fall. And I'm feeling pretty proud of myself. I mean, it was pouring down rain, though. And we get near the top of this thing, and then it just keeps going. It keeps going and going and going. And it was kind of terrifying. And we were just like we were on this little ridge where it was cliff on one side, cliff on the other. And there's a picture somewhere of that, and it is just, there we are walking out into the abyss. But I'm like holding on to Brian. I'm like, I'm holding on to him because I'm trying to pretend like I'm not scared. Todd Lee was in go mode. Let me out of here. Yeah, he's freaking out. And so then we keep walking, and all of a sudden, coming the other way, are these like Girl Scouts, I guess. I guess they're Girl Scouts. They got their backpacks on. I'm thinking we're going to die. I'm thinking this is the end of our life. I'm thinking we're completely lost. I'm thinking nobody knows where we're going. I'm thinking that I'm going to dehydrate, and I'm going to slip off this cliff and die. And then these Girl Scouts come along with their backpacks, and they're just all like, they're so happy. And they've got their tarps and their thing, and it's just like a walk in the park for them. And I think I'm mountain climbing. I think I'm like on Mount Everest. Where they're like, dee. And I say to them, like, how far is it to the end? And they look back, and they're like, I don't know. And then they just keep going. And so we kept going, and we kept going, and we kept going. And finally, we reached a parking lot. There's a parking lot at the top of this thing. There's just a big old parking lot. And we got in the car, and drove off as if nothing happened. I thought it was going to be like the end of, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Jerry. A yodeler with no shoes. Minus the hangover, yeah. So, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Jerry, but it's Matt Damon and Casey Affleck, and they go out into the desert, and they drive, and they think they know what they're doing. They're just sort of like a couple of, they call each other Jerry just because it's funny. It's like a funny thing between them. It was kind of like that. And I'm thinking the whole time about that movie Jerry, because I don't want to ruin it for you. But one of them dies. Yeah. And I thought, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be that guy. But luckily I didn't. And you know what was great about it? After that, we went to the best magic show that I have ever seen in my entire life. I've spent some time at the Magic Castle. I have gone to many a great thing, but this Annabelle and something or other that Todd had bought tickets to was the most hilarious, funniest magic show I have ever seen in my life. The guy said, the guy in the middle of this thing, I guess this guy is a magician, and he just decided, I'm going to buy my own magic place, and I'm just going to do magic tricks all the time. I'm going to be the best magician ever. And he is. He's the best magician ever. He does things like Warren and Annabelle. That's the guy's name, yeah. Warren and Annabelle. Guy does things like, he said to Todd, he said, Todd had been telling this stupid joke the entire trip about a duck that walks into a bar. Duck walks into the bar, and he says to the bartender, "You got any grapes?" And the bartender says, No, we don't serve ducks in here. Get out of here. Next day, the duck walks into the bar, and he goes, "You got any grapes?" And then the magician guy, is just like, no. That's not how you tell the joke. And I mean, this is an obscure joke. And I guess he does this every time. And then he proceeds to tell the joke better than Todd had been telling it the entire time. You'll have to ask Todd for the rest of the joke, though. You got any grapes? The best part, I think, is the way the duck talks. You got any grapes? And then the guy behind the bar just gets so mad. He's like, no, we don't have any grapes. Next time you come in here, I am going to nail your beak to the bar. And the next day, the duck comes in. He goes, you got any nails? And the bartender's like, no, we don't have any nails. This is not a hardware store. This is a bar, and we don't serve ducks. And he's like, oh, you got any grapes? That's the way I tell the joke. The guy in Annabelle tells it a hell of a lot better than I do. But you know, my parents were from Pittsburgh. I always got bony. Oh, I want to do this a little bit of comedy busking. My parents were from Pittsburgh, and so we always went to Pittsburgh when there was a vacation. We would go to Pittsburgh. Yeah, I'm going to save that for another day. But that's a little teaser there. I did some comedy busking, and I had a one audience member, and I think you guys will like it. Matt Wright knows that joke. But okay, so we're running out of time. And I was like crazy at the beginning for like 7 minutes. I don't know. I'm probably going to have to cut that part out because it was like insanity. I was trying, it was like I gave everybody the wrong link, and then I wanted people to be here and the whole thing. And hopefully I'm going to go back to Maui. Oh, one other anecdote that I want to say about the Maui trip is the next year or something like that, all the wives went with the guys, and they all went on that same trip, and they went hiking on that thing. And they said it was fine. They didn't know what I was talking about. Because I had gone into this whole thing about how I almost died and how these guys almost got me killed. And they were like, what are you talking about? It was a super easy hike. I don't know. They must have gone a different way. All right, so I want to end this thing here. Do you got any grapes? No, I don't have any grapes. Great joke. So I'm going to end this thing. I did some musical busking today, and I'm going to ease us on out with a little song and guitar of me in my backyard. Well, it ain't no use to sit and wonder why, babe. You don't know by now. Ain't no use to sit and wonder why, babe. It'll never do somehow. When your rooster crows at the break of dawn, just look out your window and I'll be gone. You're the reason that I'm traveling on. Don't think twice, alright. Well, it ain't no use in turning on your light, babe. The light I never know. It ain't no use in turning on your light, babe. I'm on the dark side of the road. I wish there was something you could do or say to make me change my mind and stay. But we never did too much talking anyway. Don't think twice, alright. Well, it ain't no use in calling out my name, gal, like you've never done before. Ain't no use in calling out my name, gal. I can't hear you anymore. I'm thinking and I'm walking down this long, lonesome road. I once loved a woman, a child I'm told. Gave her my heart, but she wanted my soul. Don't think twice, alright. Well, I'm walking down this long, lonesome road. Where I'm bound, I can't tell. Goodbye's two good words, so I'll say fare thee well. I'm not saying you treated me unfair.